Hey everyone, Jake here for American Muscle, and in this video we're taking a look at the TurboSmart Compact EM-VR2 plumb back blow-off valve fitting 2015 and newer EcoBoost Mustangs. Whether it's performance, longevity, sound, or some combination of all three that you're looking for in your EcoBoost Mustang, this TurboSmart blow-off valve can get you all that and more in one easy-to-install package. The advent of the turbo has meant great things for power and efficiency, but it also leaves room for additional power and some additional fun. And that's where this blow-off valve comes in. Now this is a plumb back blow-off valve that is going to take the place of your stock diverter valve. At its core, this is basically the same type of thing, meaning that it is going to recirculate excess boost back into the engine just like your stock unit. However, this one can hold more boost. TurboSmart's boost balance valve design seals better the more boost that there is, so as revs and boost pressure increase, this thing is actually going to seal better. And unlike your stock diverter valve, this is really a much stronger setup. As opposed to stock plastic components, this thing, it's all billet. So it can also take the heat if you're planning on tuning your Mustang and cranking up the boost. And it's going to do it more reliably than your stock valve as well. So this is going to make a big difference in the response time. So this is going to hold more boost more reliably due to the tougher components. And it's also going to provide you with faster response time than the stock diverter valve. So overall, you should be able to feel a difference because this is going to spool better and it's going to hold more boost. You'll definitely be able to hear a difference too. So even though this is a recirculating valve as opposed to one that vents out to the atmosphere, you're still going to get a bit more of that psh noise when you let off the throttle. So if you like that old school turbo noise and don't want to go too obnoxious with it, this thing will get you exactly what you want. It's going to make you smile every time you let off the gas. TurboSmart has also made sure that this integrates seamlessly as well, so it's just a plug and play type of setup. It's a cool little piece actually, mounts up easily, everything comes ready to go for you, so really you've just got to bolt it up and plug it in. So it makes for a fun and simple upgrade to your Mustang. The moment you pull this thing out of the box, you can tell that it's really well made. The housing is all powder-coated black billet aluminum, and inside is even more good stuff. They've packed motorsport-proven billet valve technology, there's a proprietary solenoid system with internal pressure control, and that boost balance valve design that we discussed earlier. You also get positive seal Viton high-temp O-rings on the piston itself, and no external hoses or references to deal with. This is, again, just going to bolt right in place of your factory diverter valve and plugs in using the included harness. Pricing for this one will come in at about $300, which makes it a very affordable option in the category. It's still a good chunk of change for something this small, but it can be a big stumbling block if you're going for more power with your Mustang. It's worth taking the time and spending the money to get a really solid upgrade here if you are planning on cranking up the boost, because it's only going to make it more reliable and better for you in the long run, even if you leave it stock. Installation gets a 1 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and the job should only take you about an hour, probably a little bit less to complete. This is a totally bolt-on part again, so you're not going to have to modify anything on your car. Really just a couple of bolts and one plug. There's not much more I can say about it here, so let's go ahead and jump on out to the shop and we'll walk you through the install process.
The tools you'll need for this project is a 5mm Allen key. Hi everyone, today we're installing a blow-off valve on our Mustang. So let's get started with the uninstall. Now keep in mind, you do not have to remove your cold air intake in order to be able to do this. It will make it a little bit easier, but for our purposes today, we went ahead and removed our intake just to be able to give you a better view of what we're doing inside. Now, if you want to go ahead and remove your cold air intake, here's a short video on how to uninstall the cold air intake.
All right guys, first things first, we have to disconnect the negative cable on our battery just to keep things safe. What you're gonna do is remove your battery cover from your engine bay, set that aside, 10mm socket, loosen up the bolt, remove your negative cable on the battery. First step in uninstalling our factory airbox is to use a 7mm socket to loosen up band clamp. Holding on the factory airbox here, we're gonna disconnect our sensor, pop off a couple of clips on the airbox itself, and pull it off. Next step to remove our factory air filter is to grab your ratchet, small extension, and your 10mm socket and remove the bolt holding to the firewall. All right, there's a couple of hoses we have to disconnect from the factory tubing leading back to the turbo. Now I'm going to use needle nose pliers to disconnect some of the hose clamps. I can do some by hand with my thumb, which I'll show you in just a second. And then for the last clamp holding it to the turbo, you're going to want to have a decent extension, possibly a swivel socket to make your life easier, and then a 7mm socket for your last clamp. So what we're going to do now, disconnect those hoses with the needle nose, and we'll work from there. All right, so we're going to use our needle nose to disconnect the hose clamp on our air bypass valve hose. Go ahead and pinch that. If you are physically able, which I apparently am not. So here is this gray plastic PCV hose connect that you're going to remove. You can pinch this back with your needle nose pliers, or you can reach your finger in there. It's a little hot. Push up on the connect and disconnect it from the hose. All right, we've got our extension on our ratchet, our 7mm at the end of the universal swivel joint. Gonna go ahead and loosen up the clamp at our turbo. All right, can rotate our clamp here and we'll be able to disconnect our hose from the turbo. And remove your factory hose from the engine bay.
So here's where our blow-off valve is actually located. First thing we're going to do is disconnect the electrical harness from it. And to do that, what you're going to do is pull down on this white locking tab here on the front, and then push down on the locking tab to release it, and then you can go ahead and disconnect your harness. Once you've got that disconnected, then you can use a 5mm Allen key to go ahead and remove the 3 bolts, one here, and one up top here. So we'll go ahead and get those out of the way. So we got the one on top removed. And we'll get the one on the side. There's number 2. And now we'll get the last one out. Once you get that last one out, you can just go ahead and slide your blow-off valve out of the way. All right, now we're ready to install our new valve. And if you look at it, you'll notice that it is slightly different from what you took off. This actually has a cable connector on it instead of the flat tab connector. Also, one of the things that you want to make sure of when you look at this before you install it, make sure that both of these O-rings are properly seated in the grooves provided. Now we're going to go ahead and install this in the same orientation as what the original valve was when it came off, and then we'll just go ahead and plug the connector in from the harness to the connector here on the valve. Now they do supply also 3 bolts to be able to put in there. So we'll be using those, again, with our 5mm Allen key to go ahead and get this installed. So we'll go ahead and get the holes lined up on the valve and the housing, and then start inserting the new screws. All right, now we'll install the other 2 screws on the bottom. So once you get all 3 of them started, you can go ahead and use your 5mm Allen key to go ahead and snug it up. I like to snug up all 3 of them first, just to where it makes contact and it's in position. And then once all 3 of them have made contact, then we can go back around and tighten them all down. All right, now that we've made contact, we can go ahead and tighten them all down. Now, once you've got it tight, go ahead and connect your harness to the connector on the valve. And your installation is now complete. And now, if you've removed your cold air intake like we did, you can go ahead and reinstall that, and you're ready to go. And that wraps up our review and install of the TurboSmart Compact EM Plumb-Back Blow-Off Valve VR2 for your 15 and newer Mustang EcoBoost. Thanks for watching, and remember, for all things Mustang, keep it right here at AmericanMuscle.com.